Echoes of Shadows, a haunting odyssey in eternal despair. In the chilling silence of the night, I found myself drawn to the eerie allure of an abandoned mansion known as Eternal Shadows. Its decrepit facade whispered tales of unspeakable horrors, beckoning me into the abyss of the unknown. As I cautiously stepped through the creaking door, a shiver ran down my spine. The air within was thick with a palpable sense of dread. The walls seemed to close in, and the dim light flickered ominously, casting grotesque shadows on the decaying wallpaper. The first room held an antique mirror that reflected a distorted version of my own fear-stricken face. Whispers echoed as I moved deeper, recounting tales of a family cursed to eternally wander these haunted halls. The silence shattered as a door slammed shut behind me, trapping me in the suffocating embrace of eternal shadows. With each step, the temperature plummeted, and a spectral coldness gripped my very soul. Ghostly apparitions materialized, their hollow eyes fixated on me. A ghastly figure, cloaked in tattered robes, beckoned from the end of a narrow corridor. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the air, sending shivers down my spine. The mansion seemed to come alive with anguished wails and tortured moans. Desperation fueled my every move as I navigated the labyrinthine passages, searching for an escape from this nightmarish realm. In the heart of the mansion, a forbidden library whispered forbidden knowledge. As I traced my fingers over ancient tomes, a sinister force seized control, revealing the unspeakable fate that befell those who dared to unlock the secrets within. The air grew heavy with the weight of malevolent entities that hungered for release. A hidden chamber revealed a cryptic ritual room adorned with cryptic symbols. Unearthly whispers guided me to a sinister altar, where a ghastly figure awaited its next victim. Shadows danced on the walls as the room pulsed with unholy energy. I recoiled, realizing that the barrier between the living and the dead was disintegrating. The climax reached a crescendo as the mansion itself seemed to rebel against my presence. The walls groaned, and ethereal voices united in a chorus of torment. A blinding light enveloped me, and I braced for the unknown. But as the light faded, I found myself standing in a seemingly ordinary room. Bewilderment consumed me until a chilling whisper brushed against my ear, assuring me that the horrors of Eternal Shadows transcended the boundaries of time and space. And so, the haunting tale continued, a relentless cycle of fear and despair. As I stumbled through the labyrinth once more, the spectral entities mocked my futile attempts to escape their eternal clutches. As the story unfolds, the boundary between reality and nightmare blurs, and the malevolent forces of Eternal Shadows seep into the fabric of my existence. Each revelation deepens the mystery, leaving me teetering on the brink of madness. And so, the saga of Eternal Shadows continues, a nightmarish odyssey that defies logic and reason. As I traverse the shifting landscapes of horror, the only certainty is the unrelenting grip of terror that refuses to release its hold on my tormented soul. In my quest for answers within the ghastly confines of Eternal Shadows, the spectral manifestations intensified. Whispers became tormented screams, and the air grew thick with a malevolent force that seemed to feed on my growing fear. The once familiar rooms now morphed into grotesque versions of themselves, as if the mansion itself reveled in tormenting its unwilling guests. Shadows twisted and contorted, forming sinister shapes that slithered across the walls. It became apparent that the horrors I faced were not bound by the laws of our reality. Desperation gripped me as I stumbled upon an ancient mirror, its surface reflecting a nightmarish tableau of my own twisted visage. The figure staring back at me bore the weight of countless horrors witnessed within these accursed walls. It was a chilling reminder that in the realm of eternal shadows, my own identity was unraveling. A spectral figure, cloaked in darkness, materialized before me, extending a skeletal hand. The touch sent a shockwave through my very core, unlocking memories not my own. Visions of past inhabitants, trapped in a perpetual cycle of suffering, flashed before my eyes. Their anguished faces etched into the fabric of my mind, a haunting tapestry of souls ensnared by the mansion's insidious grip. As I delved deeper into the heart of the supernatural labyrinth, I stumbled upon a forgotten chamber housing a series of cryptic artifacts. Each item seemed to carry the residual energy of those who had succumbed to the malevolence of eternal shadows. A cursed doll whispered forgotten lullabies, and a weathered journal chronicled the descent into madness of those who dared to defy the unnatural order. The realization dawned that the mansion itself was a sentient entity, a malevolent force that thrived on the suffering of those ensnared within its walls. Its dark tendrils extended beyond the physical structure, entwining with the very fabric of my consciousness. In my pursuit of escape, I discovered an ancient grimoire hidden within the forbidden library. Its pages contained an incantation that, if uttered, could sever the ties binding me to eternal shadows. With trepidation, I recited the words, invoking an otherworldly resonance that echoed through the haunted corridors. Yet, the ritual was not without consequence. The mansion convulsed in response, unleashing a cacophony of tortured souls. The ground quaked beneath my feet as the walls themselves seemed to bleed. Shadows coalesced into a nightmarish amalgamation, a spectral entity hell-bent on preventing my escape. As the crescendo of horror reached its zenith, the story took an unexpected turn. The very fabric of reality unraveled, and I found myself standing on the threshold of an otherworldly realm, a place where time, space, and the supernatural converged in a cosmic dance of perpetual terror. Eternal shadows had not released its grasp. Instead, it had transcended its own malevolence, ensnaring me in a timeless purgatory where the horrors knew no bounds. And so, the chilling odyssey continued, a journey through the ethereal corridors of a haunted existence, where each step forward only unveiled more layers of the enigmatic nightmare that was eternal shadows. In this surreal realm beyond the veil, the boundaries between past, present, and future blurred into a disorienting mosaic of horror. As I traversed the ethereal corridors, time itself seemed to warp and twist, revealing fragments of the lives touched by eternal shadows. Faces of the long-forgotten inhabitants flickered like ghostly apparitions, their eyes pleading for release from the perpetual torment. The very essence of the mansion manifested as a sinister presence, weaving itself into the fabric of my consciousness. I became a reluctant witness to the unfolding tragedies that echoed through the ages. A spectral guide emerged from the shadows, a tortured soul who, like me, had once sought escape. With hollow eyes, the apparition recounted the history of eternal shadows, a tale woven with betrayal, curses, and the insatiable thirst for vengeance. Each chapter unfolded like a nightmarish tapestry, painting a picture of a malevolent force that preyed on the vulnerabilities of the living. As I delved deeper into the enigma, the boundaries of the mansion expanded into a surreal dreamscape. Haunting visions of alternate realities played out before me, each a twisted reflection of the choices made by those who had crossed paths with eternal shadows. It became evident that the mansion was not merely a place for a sentient entity that fed on the suffering born from human folly. The ghostly guide led me to a forgotten chamber, its walls adorned with arcane symbols pulsating with an ominous energy. In the center of the room, a portal flickered, a gateway between the mortal realm and the boundless abyss. The guide spoke cryptically of a choice that would determine my fate, a choice to confront the malevolence or succumb to the eternal dance of shadows. With trepidation, I stepped through the portal, and reality itself unraveled. The inky void swallowed me whole, and I found myself suspended in a cosmic expanse where time was a mere illusion. Whispers of forgotten souls reverberated, urging me to confront the very heart of the darkness that clung to eternal shadows. As the void constricted around me, the mansion's malevolence took shape, an eldritch entity woven from the collective anguish of the forsaken. Its form contorted, shifting between grotesque reflections of past inhabitants, each face a testament to the inescapable cycle of suffering. In a surge of defiance, I faced the eldritch entity head-on, challenging the very essence of eternal shadows. The air crackled with supernatural energy as the mansion quivered in response. The struggle between mortal will and ancient malevolence reached a climax, and a blinding light enveloped everything. When the brilliance faded, I stood once more within the decaying halls of eternal shadows. The spectral guide was gone, and an unsettling calm settled over the mansion. It seemed, for a fleeting moment, that the malevolence had abated. Yet, as I cautiously moved forward, uncertainty lingered. The tales of eternal shadows echoed through the haunted corridors, and a whisper carried on the wind hinted at the cyclical nature of the nightmare, a relentless cycle that transcended the boundaries of time and space. And so, the Haunting Odyssey continued, leaving me to grapple with the realization that the shadows would forever dance in the corridors of my existence, a chilling reminder that some horrors were destined to endure beyond the confines of mortal understanding. In the wake of my confrontation with the eldritch entity, the mansion's malevolence took on a subtler but no less insidious form. The walls seemed to exude a disconcerting awareness, and shadows clung to the peripheries like sentient tendrils, whispering secrets that transcended the boundaries of mortal comprehension. As I explored the now eerily silent halls, an unsettling realization dawned. The mansion had absorbed the essence of my struggle, assimilating it into the very fabric of its haunted existence. I became an unwitting part of the spectral tapestry, forever entwined with the ceaseless dance of shadows. Curiosity and dread compelled me to revisit the forbidden library, where the ancient tomes now seemed to resonate with a malevolent intelligence. As I deciphered the cryptic texts, I unearthed the tragic tales of those who had dared to defy the supernatural order of eternal shadows. Each story revealed a different facet of the eldritch force that pulsed within the mansion's heart. The spectral guide, though absent, left behind fragments of its tormented consciousness. Whispers of forgotten memories haunted me as I navigated the haunted corridors, the lines between the guide's experiences and my own becoming increasingly blurred. It was as if our destinies had become entangled, our fates woven into the very fabric of the mansion's existence. In the Chamber of Artifacts, I discovered relics imbued with the residual energy of countless souls. An antique mirror reflected not only my own visage but also the distorted faces of those who had succumbed to the insidious force. The cursed doll, once a mere observer, now seemed to mock my every move with a malevolent grin. A hidden passage led me to an ethereal realm, a nightmarish dreamscape where the laws of reality crumbled. Faces of the Forsaken floated in a ghostly procession, their eyes pleading for release. It became apparent that the mansion's influence extended beyond its physical confines, reaching into the very recesses of my subconscious. The climax approached with a dreadful inevitability as the boundaries between the supernatural and the tangible continued to erode. Shadows whispered ancient incantations, resonating with a macabre harmony that echoed through the accursed halls. In a chamber bathed in an otherworldly glow, I confronted a manifestation of the eldritch entity, a grotesque amalgamation of shadow and despair. Its form undulated, a grotesque dance that mirrored the perpetual torment it inflicted upon the trapped souls. With a surge of newfound determination, I uttered the incantation gleaned from the forbidden grimoire. The air crackled with energy as the eldritch entity recoiled, its form contorting in agony. The mansion itself seemed to convulse, as if rejecting the very essence of the malevolence that had defined it for centuries. But as the ethereal tempest subsided, a disconcerting calm settled over eternal shadows. The eldritch entity, though weakened, persisted in its spectral form, a lingering reminder that some forces defied the very fabric of mortal understanding. The spectral guide reappeared, its eyes conveying a mix of gratitude and sorrow. In its absence, a newfound sense of purpose enveloped me. I had become a guardian of sorts, a solitary figure tasked with navigating the haunted corridors in perpetuity. And so, the chilling saga of eternal shadows continued, an endless cycle of fear and despair that transcended the boundaries of time and space. As I embraced my role as the reluctant custodian of this supernatural labyrinth, the shadows whispered tales of forgotten souls, forever entwined in the haunting tapestry of an accursed mansion that defied the very notion of escape. As I embraced my role as the unwilling custodian of eternal shadows, the malevolence within the mansion seemed to intensify. The once silent whispers evolved into anguished wails that echoed through the haunted corridors, creating a cacophony of torment that reverberated through the very fabric of my being. New apparitions materialized, twisted specters whose faces contorted in unspeakable agony. The walls pulsed with an unnatural heartbeat, and the air itself seemed to seethe with an otherworldly malice. It became clear that my actions had not subdued the eldritch force within. Instead, they had unleashed a more sinister iteration of the mansion's malevolence. In the heart of eternal shadows, a forbidden chamber revealed itself, concealed behind a veil of spectral mist. As I entered, the atmosphere grew thick with an oppressive darkness that devoured any trace of light. Arcane symbols adorned the walls, pulsating with an ominous energy that transcended the realm of the living. The eldritch entity, not defeated but transformed, manifested in a grotesque fusion of shadow and despair. Its eyes, voids of infinite darkness, fixated on me with a hunger that transcended mortal understanding. The very foundations of the mansion quivered as the entity spoke, a symphony of disembodied voices that whispered forbidden secrets and beckoned me to surrender to the impending nightmare. In an act of desperation, I revisited the ancient grimoire, searching for an incantation that could sever the shackles binding me to this abyss. The pages, once decipherable, now seemed to shift and writhe, resisting my attempts to find a path to salvation. It became apparent that the very fabric of the supernatural tapestry had rewritten itself, trapping me in an ever-evolving nightmare. The mansion's spectral guide reappeared, its form more twisted than before. With hollow eyes, it warned of an impending reckoning, the convergence of malevolence and mortal soul into an unholy union. It revealed that my attempts to defy eternal shadows had only accelerated the inevitability of my entrapment. As I uttered the incantation, the mansion convulsed in defiance. Shadows coalesced into nightmarish shapes that clawed at the walls, desperate to maintain their spectral grip. But instead of liberation, the ritual plunged me deeper into the abyss, unraveling the very fabric of my sanity. The once familiar halls twisted into nightmarish landscapes that defied reason. The air itself screamed with the tortured voices of those who had come before me. Faces of the forsaken flickered like phantoms, their expressions eternally etched in despair. The climax arrived with a deafening roar, a maelstrom of malevolence that consumed all reason. The boundaries between the living and the dead shattered, and I became one with the perpetual dance of shadows. The eldritch force enveloped me, its tendrils seeping into the recesses of my consciousness. And so, the final chapter unfolded within the haunted corridors of eternal shadows, a ceaseless nightmare where time, reason, and hope ceased to exist. The very essence of my being merged with the eldritch entity, forever condemned to writhe in the shadows as a testament to the insatiable hunger of the malevolence that lurked within the accursed mansion. The tale of eternal shadows concluded not with resolution, but with an eternal continuation, a haunting symphony of fear that echoed through the spectral corridors, inviting others to join the nightmarish waltz of a malevolence that refused to be extinguished.